I have a couple of different go-to grounding exercises that I've shared with clients and I've done for myself. And I think that having like your favorite go-tos or go-threes like definitely can serve you depending on the moment.
So when you're breathing really heavy and your heart starts beating out of your chest, you're not going to be able to make an intelligent decision because that part of your brain just shuts off. It's gone. Hey everybody, it's Bianca.
And this is Emilia.
And welcome to another episode of Evolve Ventures, where we are helping growth-minded humans evolve by breaking one limiting belief at a time. We hope you enjoyed last week's episode, 180, the best tools to overcome social anxiety. I am someone who struggled with social anxiety for so long. And honestly, that was an episode that I wish that I had been able to hear because we provided a lot of really good tools in there to help you if this is something you're struggling with, even if it's not like clinical social anxiety, whatever. If you're struggling with social anxiety at all, imposter syndrome, fear of being around other people, that's a good episode to listen to. So head on over to number 180 for today, Motivation Monday, simple coping skills for dealing with stress. So why are we doing this episode and what are you going to get out of it? The reason I wanted to do this episode was because working as a clinician, I see more often than not that people really don't know how to handle it when things come up in the moment. It's like, okay, once it's passed, once it's over, it's like, okay, yeah, I have coping skills I can use. Maybe I can go talk to a friend, whatever. But when you're actually like in that moment and all your senses are going off and you have like a WTF moment of like, what am I supposed to do right now? I found that a lot of people struggle, a lot of my clients and even me, I struggle in that moment of like, what am I supposed to do? So Motivation Monday, it's going to be a quick 10-minute episode. What you're going to get out of this is learning a few simple tools for when you are in that moment. What can you do to regulate yourself, to calm yourself down so that you can make the next best decision? So Emilia and I came prepared with some goodies, always. Always.
We get the goodies. All right. So I want everyone to imagine. So you're in that moment where you are starting to have stress, right? Stress is coming and it might not just be like, okay, hi stress. Why don't you come on in? Let's open up the door, bring them on in, right? Like it's Monday, boom, more stress, yay. No, it really doesn't happen that way. A lot of us, it just like hits us and like, bam, we're overwhelmed, right? And what I find is that like, it's that in that bam moment where you realize you're like, holy cat, like you can't turn the car around, it feels like. And it's just like, all right, I just need to like take a hot sec. And in that hot sec, I encourage everyone on this Monday, let's just try it, right? You might have your phone, you might have, something around you that can actually like count, right? I want 90 seconds to be put on your little timer that's in front of you. Use your phone, use whatever. This is so, so huge. And what I call this is the 90-second rule when it comes to emotion. Stress is typically something that builds so many emotions. And one of those emotions can be overwhelm. That's what I typically find with clients. That's typically what I find within myself. And the 90-second rule essentially helps to bring your awareness to that moment where it's like, all right, we got to cope with this stress because it's not like we can just usher it out the door. It needs to run its course. And I want to be in control of that. And the biggest thing to shift that control inwardly is putting that 90-second rule out there for yourself of like 90 seconds. Let's let the course of this energy run through me. And let's just sit here. Let's start to breathe and let's go through some of the things that you're going to be bringing into this episode, which will help that 90 seconds just take a pause and just help you kind of get to the next step. Because here's the thing, when we're under stress, it is something that we now know there's so many good types of stress, there's so many bad types of stress, and there's so many in-between types of stress. And coping with stress and doing so in a way that is adaptive, that helps to like really charge up your day can actually be really empowering, right? So when you set that 90-second timer on your phone or whatever, and you're recognizing you're here, boom, stress, hi, hello, let's welcome you in, let's let you run your course, but let's be the one that's in the driver's seat, that's in control, that's kind of guiding what happens from here on out, instead of what a lot of us can do, and I fall into that trap sometimes too, if I'm not conscious of, boom, 90-second rule time, is just let that stress spiral into a deeper, stronger hold on us. And then before you know it, you feel totally out of control, and the stress becomes pervasive, starts to kind of lend to maybe emotional eating and different coping skills that aren't really as adaptive. So B, I know you have a couple things for our listeners that when we do, if we were to set this 90-second rule with our emotions, right? Or when stress comes in, we like, hi, stress. What do we do and where do we start once we set that timer?
So I can't stuff my face with Oreos when I'm stressed out?
Oh, man. I have something that I want to share, but maybe I should wait after about Oreos, but you can. I'm all for it. It's not a can situation, but yeah, I mean, maybe the thing that you had written down was a little bit better for our listeners. I don't know.
Maybe.
Try it on.
Just a little bit. One of the first things that I always guide people to do when teaching them distress tolerance. So that's really what we're talking about. It's being able to tolerate that stress level. It's being able to like tolerate that discomfort in that moment, because the better you get at being able to tolerate that, kind of to the point that we were just joking around about a little bit, you're going to be less likely to engage in some of these maybe not so helpful behaviors and these things that you're going to do. So first thing right off the bat, number one, is deep breathing. Now, I know everyone's probably rolling their eyes. It's like, listen, if I hear another person tell me to breathe, I'm going to smack you. I get it. But most of us don't realize how much our breathing is actually making an impact. So let's say Emilia and I were to get into an argument right now, right? I don't think we've ever gotten into an argument, but just for shits and giggles, let's just say you and I are about to get into an argument.
Little S and G's.
And my voice gets a little elevated. Her voice gets a little elevated. We're looking at each other. We're fuming. All the thoughts are rolling in our heads. I'm thinking,
Put them up. Put them up. If you're not watching this on YouTube, I highly recommend it. If you just need that like motivation to like really tip the scales for you, like here it is. It's this. Put them up.
You look like
Let's go,
Popeye.
Bianca. Put them up. I have muscles like Popeye. Yeah. All right. Anywho, we're in a fight.
Oh my God.
We're fighting.
Anyways,
what do we do? What's happening?
When you're in that state, what ends up happening is your breathing starts to get more shallow. Because your body thinks it's going into a fight. Your body thinks that because of your brain and what your brain is kind of interpreting, your body thinks that something bad is going to happen. And so what it's either going to need to do is fight, flight, freeze, fawn, right? The 4 Fs, the stress response. So when you're breathing really heavy and your heart starts beating out of your chest, you're not going to be able to make an intelligent decision because that part of your brain just shuts off. It's gone. And that fight or flight state just kicks in. So if you can teach yourself in that moment to take a breath, do some box breathing, right? 4-second inhale, 4-second hold, 4-second exhale, 4-second hold, whatever, right? Whatever type of breathing you want to do for you. But if you can calm your breathing down, your body realizes it's not in danger. That part of your brain that makes rational decisions turns back on, and then you're able to make a better choice about what to do next. So, step number 1, learn to regulate your breathing. Before anything, that's the most important thing that you can do.
And what I want to jump in here and say, all of us are capable. So I know some of us might be introduced to the 4 Fs that B just said for the first time. And you might not feel like you have a control over your emotions or any degree of control thereof. That's okay. That's where we all start, in this stuff, right? And you're more than capable of getting to the point that Bianca's talking about right now. All of us have been there. You're not alone in this. And you're so much more capable than you initially think right now.
Absolutely. Step number 2. Not everyone has to do this, but this is something that can be helpful, and it's called the grounding technique. So there's many different ways to do this. There's many different examples of this. One of them is called like the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 technique. Some people will pick colors. Some people will, count objects in whatever the area is that they're in. But ultimately, a grounding technique is you're shifting your focus. So you're shifting your focus to, where am I right now? What am I experiencing? What am I feeling? It's really a way to help you change your focus to something else so that you can calm yourself down. So let's say that you're in your bed, you're thinking about something and you're worried about like an exam that you have next week, and you start panicking a little bit. And so your heart rate's going, your breathing is shallow, you're having all of these thoughts start to happen, you're freaking out. If you can regulate your breathing and start shifting your attention to, okay, where am I right now? What am I sitting on? What's the texture that I'm feeling? What are some colors in the room? What are some things that I can put my attention onto? Because when you can shift your attention from whatever's going on in your mind to where you currently are, it'll help ground you, right? Bring you back to the ground from that high that you're on, that anxious high that you're on. And it helps you get stabilized in the moment. What happens with a lot of people is we're so in our head thinking about, well, what if this? Well, what if that? Well, what if this? Well, what if that? Or if you're in the moment, Emilia and I are sitting there having that fight with that Popeye look she had on her face.
Come and get it, sugar.
Oh my God.
Did you ground yourself? Did you get
If
scared? Oh, man.
If I can shift my energy and shift my focus off of, oh my God, I can't believe she's saying this. I can't believe she's doing this. I can then get perspective. I can calm myself down, figure out, what can I shift my attention to? And that'll give me this space to get some perspective.
One of the things that I love to do, I'm a huge visual person and I'm a gardener. And I love to imagine leveraging my creative brain whenever I'm feeling super stressed and I want to put that 90-second timer on. I want to start regulating my breathing and I want to leverage the maximum capacity for me of this grounding exercise. I literally imagine like a beam of light shining at the top of my head through my body down into the ground. And in that beam of light, what's happening is it's planting a root down to the deepest center of the core of the earth. And that helps me literally feel is that no matter how much the world feels like it's swaying or the overwhelm of the emotion or stress or what have you, I am literally grounded by that mother root that is like planted because of this beam of light. So for all you visual learners out there, it can look so different, feel so different. And the perspective that you gain through that imagination on what works for you, it's different for everyone. And I think that I have a couple of different go-to grounding exercises that I've shared with clients and I've done for myself. And I think that having like your favorite go-tos or go-threes like definitely can serve you depending on the moment.
Yeah, for sure. Last thing that you can do, and we've done a ton of episodes on this, and honestly, we're not going to have enough time to really dive into this in this episode. So if you want more help on how to do this, reach out. We have 30 minutes every single Saturday where we talk to our community. We set the time aside anyways. But the last thing that I always help my clients do, now this really ties into CBT, is changing your narrative. So when we are under stress, when we are in a moment, when we are, we're not grounded, our hearts are racing, we're breathing really fast, that front of our brain isn't really working, our mind will start to wander. And it always wanders to the worst case scenarios. It wanders to the extremes. It wanders off to things that have happened in our past of, oh, well, this looks like that, so this must mean this, and blah, 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 blah. How many of us have done that? I sure as hell have. When you're in that moment, you're not thinking from your best self, right? So if you're in that moment and you can get yourself to breathe differently, calm your breathing down, you can get yourself to shift your perspective just of what's going on right now and ground yourself back into the moment, then the last thing you can do is really understand, where is my mind taking me?
Yeah.
What are the thoughts that I'm having? What am I telling myself is going on? My favorite line is, what is the story that I am telling myself?
Mm-hmm.
Within the last week, I think I've said that maybe 12 times, right? The story I'm telling myself, the story I'm telling myself, the story I'm telling myself.
So
Because
powerful.
the story we are telling ourselves, it makes us feel what we're feeling. And then that causes us to do whatever it is that we're doing. So the 3 steps, plain and simple. Focus on your breathing, calm your breathing down. So deep breaths. Number 2, ground yourself back into reality, into the moment that you're in. Ground yourself into the floor so you feel centered. And then step number 3, change the narrative. Understand what is the story that you're telling yourself and what is that causing you to do.
Heck yeah. That's so powerful. And that 90 seconds, you'll feel it after. If you're doing these 3 steps too, you'll feel like you're much more empowered after that, because emotions are like waves. They come in and they go. And after about 90 seconds, that emotional state, if you've done these 3 steps, will have shifted into something, right? That means you will have transformed the moment for you, which means that you're far more capable than you were at the beginning of the timer. So we're proud of you. If you took these 3 steps and you came to this episode just for these, kuronya, as we say at Evolve Ventures, celebrating you today and every single day. And we hope that you loved this episode. Also, happy Monday, y'all. There's a new look at Evolve Ventures, obviously. If you're looking at this, you know that we've had some shifts. We have tons of shifts coming and so many amazing things. So before we share with you what is so exciting in the Evolve Ventures world for you, Bianca, what is your episode suggestion and final takeaway?
My episode suggestion is number 80, what to do when it doesn't feel right. My final takeaway. Most of us make really bad decisions when we are in a state of stress and overwhelm. And if you can learn how to calm yourself down, how to regulate yourself, how to, get back into that rational mind, that wise mind in that moment, you are going to be able to make better choices and have less regret later on.
My final takeaway is actually relating directly to this episode suggestion, which is number 160. Are you dismissing the little things? Because I really do believe, and I've been the beneficiary of this, as have my clients. If you believe that the deep breathing, it's like rolling your eyes and like, this doesn't work. If you believe that, you will continue that. And that's actually dismissing the little things that could make such a big impact. And even myself, I find myself sometimes being at the level of awareness holistically that I am, sometimes it's a lot easier to listen to that narrative that's like, oh, it's just breathing. It's not going to do much, even though we all know how important it is, right? So don't dismiss the little things. Let them be as powerful as they are and let them help transform you into the next chapter of your evolution. So that said, well Bianca, said. What do the listeners have coming up that they can look forward to really receiving some of the benefits of that Evolve Ventures is excited to share?
We are launching our Evolve Ventures group coaching. This is the first of its kind, and we are only doing one group this year. We are not doing another group until 2024. I don't say this lightly. This is going to be one of the best groups out there that you will be able to find. And the reason I say that is because we've taken our experience and our knowledge of all of the other groups that are out there. We've taken the pros and we've taken out the negatives. And we're taking our clinical experiences and all of the knowledge that we've acquired. And we've heard from our community, like what you guys are struggling with, what all of you need, what all of you want. And we made a program that is completely tailored to that. And the hook for this is 9 days to evolve. So it is 9 sessions. That's it. 9 days.
That's it?
For you to change your life.
Oh, dang.
What if you could be guaranteed that? Would it be worth it?
I think so. I think so for sure. So that said, in the episode show notes, we're literally so excited to share this with you. Our heart and soul and blood and tears and sweat and all that jazz is in this, no doubt. And early bird registration will be opening very soon. Stay tuned on Evolve Venture Society, private Facebook group, as well as our Instagram, all the places that you can find us. We'll have the information posted there. But if you want to register early and get that information before anyone else does, click the link in the show notes. We'll have an early bird registration and that information will come to you first. And we do have some promo codes that will be going out to our listeners and to those who join us in Out of the Mud this month, April. That said, reach out to us for that promo code. DM us on Instagram or on Facebook, wherever you reach out to us, and we will share with you that discount code for our EV listeners, which we love and care about so much. So that said, we hope you enjoyed this episode. We're so grateful that we are a part of your evolving journey. And like I said before, good on ya.
We'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.